Hello, my name's Georgia and I'm a Brit living in Munich, and I'm going to tell you about the amazing things you can do in Munich and Germany in summertime, because it's such a magical time of year. It's so beautiful. The weather is incredible at the moment. It's hot, it's sunny, and everything is just open and beautiful and lovely. Well, almost everything, but it's just a great time of year. So sit back, get yourself a beverage of your choice, and I shall tell you all about the amazing things you can do in Munich and Germany in summertime. Summer's come, it's very hot outside. I've actually shut the door because the heat is so hot it makes the house too warm. So in the daytime we tend to keep the doors and windows shut now, which is also stuffy, excruciating, so a bit of air through. Summer being here is actually magical and amazing and incredible. So I'm going to tell you about some amazing things that you can do in summer in Germany, and specifically Munich, but I think a lot of it can be Germany wide anyway. Okay, so summer is very magical here. There are some amazing things you can do, but there are also some not amazing things. So I'll do another video after this which tells you all about the not great things about summer in Germany and Munich specifically. One being wasps, but there are other things as well. Let's start with the obvious one, the beer gardens. There are so many beer gardens in Munich, I don't even know how many. But the biggest one is the Hirschgarten, which means deer garden. It's in a park called the Hirschgarten, which is like 2.5 kilometers all the way around if you run it, because I used to run around there when we lived close by. I think it has 8,000 seats outdoors. It also has an indoor bit, obviously, you can go to in winter time. It's a really beautiful place, great food. In summertime, it's beautiful. It has these deer next to it, so if you get a table close enough, you can see the deer, you could feed the deer. And it's just a really nice vibe. You have these big trees, like all beer gardens do. They have big chestnut trees where you get chestnuts in autumn, which is such a nice sign of autumn coming, where they big on your head sometimes, and the kids collect them, or conkers, let's say, not chestnuts, conkers. And the trees give a lot of shade as well, which is amazing, to dappled sunlight, and they grow fast, which is why they've got them in beer gardens. And they were originally built because the cellars were underneath the beer garden, so people would sit outside, but actually it was to keep the beer in the cellar cold, which is why they all have the same trees. They're fast growing, cooling shade, and have become a bit of a staple in beer gardens. Beer garden, conker tree, chestnut tree, whatever. Beer gardens have a particular law that was passed many years ago, which meant everyone could afford to go to them. You can bring your own food, unless it's a tiny one on a corner in the city. Basically, legally, they have to let you bring your own food. So as long as you drink the beer there, or the drink, so it doesn't have to be beer, obviously. As long as you buy drinks there, you can bring your own food. You don't have to buy their slightly overpriced food. Obviously, a giant pretzel is great. The kids love chips, fries. You can get half chicken sausages, potato salad, you name it. You can quite often get it, but it's also nice to take your own food. People bring setups of tablecloths on the big long beer benches, sometimes even candelabras. They bring salads, they bring food, you have birthday parties, you have other celebrations, often round birthdays for older people, like 60, I'm 50, but you know what I mean. Older people will go there with their whole family and they'll celebrate in the beer garden, and everyone only has to buy drinks, and you take everything cakes, and it's such a nice thing. Kids' birthday parties, it's just a wonderful vibe, and everyone's welcome, and pretty much most people can afford it. I know the beer may not be that cheap, or the drinks, but most people can stretch to a drink and therefore go to the beer garden, and they're just such wonderful places. Most beer gardens have playgrounds. We have one not far away from here. In fact, we have one right at the end of our road. They've invested quite a lot in the last couple of years in a new playground. It's great because the kids can go play, you can sit and drink and chat, you can see them quite often. It's a really nice vibe. And the Hirschgarten, for example, because it's a park, doesn't have its own playground next to it, but the park itself has about 3 different playgrounds. So you'd have to go with your kids depending what age they are, but it's there and there's space. The benches go up to the end of the grass, and then there's just a huge field where everyone plays football and ball games, and little babies are crawling around on the grass, and people even get blankets and sit on the grass instead of on the benches. It's full sometimes, but I've never seen it full where you can't have a seat, except for the World Cup, when they have massive screens up and everyone watches the football in the beer gardens, which is another beautiful summer thing. You go and find the best beer garden, the local beer garden, and the vibe is amazing. It's an amazing thing. A German, or particularly Munich beer garden, is a really special thing to do. Open air pools. There are lots of open air pools. There are, I'm sure, at least half a dozen in Munich, and they're all attached to an indoor pool. So winter you have the indoor pool, summer the outdoor pool. A lot of the indoor pools close in summer for cleaning, or also just for staff. I know the one we go to quite often also has the indoor bit open. They've just reopened anyway, and they have sauna and everything, but it's just too hot to go to that in this weather. You've got your sauna out here with the current humidity levels as well, and it feels almost tropical actually at times. So the outdoor pools, they get very full, but they're great. They're clean, they do food as well, just basic kiosk snacks, again, you know, chips for the kids, ice creams, things like that. And they're free at the moment for kids, not for adults. I think we paid €6 each to get in the other weekend. So €12 to get in, and the kids are free. They introduced this after lockdown when all the pools had to close. And in one way, because they're state run, these are all Munich city run pools, they're not private, to get people to go back out, and people were struggling, maybe had lost their jobs, that me included, during the corona crisis. They said all kids should have free access to swimming in summertime, and since then they're still free, not for adults but for kids, which is amazing. But the pools are great. If you don't want to go to a pool because they're a little bit too busy, then you can go to the lakes, which is another level. In England, and we have Lidos, which are pools. We went to Hampton Court Lido 3 years ago when we went to London to visit our cousin, and it was that week, it was really hot in England. It was so beautiful. I spent a couple of days at the coast with my mum, East Anglian coast, and then went to Hampton Lido for the day, and it was just beautiful. And it wasn't even that busy because it was a school day. My sister-in-law took her daughter out to school that day, so we could see, because we haven't seen her more than once since then. I mean, we'd see her once every year or every 2 years. So it was quite special, but Lidos are few and far between in the UK. So here you have half a dozen at least in Munich. Every little town outside has their own pool as well. Every single one has their own outdoor pool. It's incredible. Lakes, even more. We have a couple of lakes just that way, we have a lake that way, we have a lake that way. Then you go towards the mountains, you have the bigger lakes, you have Starnberger See, you have Ammersee, the really big ones. All of them actually you can go swimming in, even Königssee, which is near kind of Salzburg that way, is absolutely freezing even in summer. Like the amount of snow-capped water goes in there, but you can still swim in it because it's clean. And they monitor the water, they do monitor the lakes. If for some reason they're polluted, then they say don't swim in it, but there are websites you can check that tell you if the lake is clean or not. You don't want to go too often, because if you swallow too much pond water, then you know it does. You do notice it a little bit. My little guy, he's 7, he in particular gets an upset stomach if we go like 2 or 3 times a week. So once a week is enough. We haven't gone this weekend, it was actually too hot yesterday and the traffic would have been terrible. There is the gridlock issue. In fact, this should be my next video. Everyone flocks to the lakes. If you get there early enough, like a good German, find your spot, then you're one for a winner. And the water is crystal clear, you see fish swimming in it, and you know for a fact that if there's fish in water, it's clean water. And we found a bit that's quite shallow. He's still learning to swim. He's quite confident a little bit, but doesn't want to be out of his depth. My daughter's doing handstands, diving, she's off anyway. Everyone does swimming here in school. They have swimming lessons, you teach your kids to swim. And most grown-ups even have their safety, first aid swimming thing, so they can save you if you drown or if you're drowning, because everyone has this outdoor lifestyle, because everyone goes swimming. A lot of people know how to save people. Saying that, a lot of people have been drowning the last few weeks in lakes, mostly in the bigger lakes like Starnberger See, going out on motorboats, jumping in the cold water because they're hot and then not reappearing. But again, next video, there are dangers associated with these things, but as long as you're sensible, things should be okay. You don't have to leave the city to go to a lake or something like that if you don't want to go to a pool, because they do have chlorinated water obviously, and you may want just the peace and quiet of nature. You have the Weser, which goes all the way through Munich, and there's banks on the river where you can go swimming. A famous one is the Flaucher, where people can barbecue. There's a section where you're allowed to barbecue. It's all pebbles and rocky bits, and at night time people light little bonfires, and there's no natural light there. It's really close to the zoo. You can see it when you walk across the bridge towards the zoo in the south, and all you see is little bonfires all along the beach, and you have to take a torch with you if you go there, because then you have to find your way back to the U-Bahn or your bike or something. Most people cycle. This is the other thing. These places, even the lakes, are quite accessible by bike. My little guy has only been cycling really for 6 months. We taught him last autumn, and he's only the last month really started cycling again because he's been scooting to school and he's finally got the balance. He's 7.5 now, which is to me a normal age to cycle. Here in Germany, you get 2-year-olds on bikes. I'm not even joking. Tiny, tiny kids. I mean, my girl was only walking at 18 months. There's no way she was going to be cycling at 2. But you literally get kids that aren't even in kindergarten on their little bikes. They're all over the place, but they're cycling. So it's ingrained in the culture to cycle from such a young age. Once they're no longer dangerous out on the pathway, then it's a great way. And we are officially a cycling family, which is really great. There are also many pop-up beach bars and things which aren't always by the water. I mean, you do have some. You've got the Praterinsel, which is by the Deutsches Museum, near, just across the river, kind of on the river. And they basically have like a sandbar. They ship in loads of sand, deck chairs, and funky music at night, DJs and everything. I think Friday and Saturday nights only, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really go out so much anymore. But really funky place. I mean, Munich is a very funky place, especially in summer, and there's so much to do. And you can just go hang out there. You can possibly dip your feet in the water. Probably not from that one because the river's quite fast there, and it's in 2 sections. They're sort of sectioned off a bit into 2 little canals almost because it's too wide. It's quite dangerous, especially in springtime when the snow caps melt. But it's just a really cool thing. Like riverbanks turned into beach bars. In Pasi, for example, over that way, it's like the west of Munich. They have a whole beach bar they set up just by the train station, and different train stations areas just set up their own things. I can't even list them because every year it's different, and each area does their own little thing. They don't even advertise, so you just have to go a little discovery. You know, it's great. And these little places are perfect, like for an after-work drink. People often go there on the way home from work or meet friends, or like a Saturday afternoon or something like that. But it's a nice outdoor vibe. The point is to get outside. So many people live in apartments here, mainly without balconies. The new ones have balconies, but any of the old Altbau, they call them, the old buildings with the high ceilings. We used to live in one. It had a balcony, but it had been added about 10 years previously, and this building was about 120 years old. So they don't have balconies, so people want to get out into nature, which is why you have this whole outdoor bit. It's like, I'm locked indoors, I need to get out. So this aside, you also have the parks, obviously, like I mentioned, the Hirschgarten, which is a beautiful park on sort of centre to west. They built loads of apartments close to the Hirschgarten the last 15 years, with tiny playgrounds dotted in between all the apartment blocks. That's like the thing. They build a whole estate, essentially, with loads of little playgrounds. Like each block almost has its own playground, and the kids can go and find where they want to play, which is great for kids and families. We're lucky we got a house. We looked at the Hirschgarten when we were moving, looking for somewhere to live, somewhere bigger. But actually, it turns out a little 2-bedroom apartment there was more expensive than a little 2-bedroom house, a little bit further out, with a courtyard at the front, a little back garden and a cellar, and a loft, which has all my stuff in it, all my books. So yeah, just by moving out a little bit further, we actually ended up with a much better place and a better location, because I don't really want loads of other kids running around screaming, and we wouldn't have had a garden, just a tiny terrace. That aside, some great parks, and the biggest park being obviously the Englische Garden. The English Garden. It's huge. I'm not sure about the size. I might add it here, the square metre size. It actually, the massive ring road, the Mittlere Ring, actually crosses over in the middle, so the park is cut in half. You've got about 2/3, and then you've got the massive road that I have to drive on to go to work. It's a horrible gridlock, and then like another third above it. And they are building a tunnel. I believe they've approved the tunnel now, so you don't have to cross over the road to go under. Like, it's literally cut in half. I have no idea who approved all this. I'm sure the park was there long before the road, but there you have it. City planning. The Englische Garden is famous for naked sunbathing. This is one thing. FKK, Freikörperkultur, which is free body culture, they call it. You can obviously go swimming and sunbathing naked at all lakes as well, but at special sections, not just anywhere. So even the local lake that we used to go to, we don't go there anymore because it's too busy nowadays. We just drive a little bit further out to another one. But there was a section where you can just swim naked, and we drove in around the back once, and we came across them and, oh look, lots of bottoms. lots of men bending over. So it's great if you want to. When I studied here in Kassel for a year, they had a naked place, a naked lake actually, I think the whole lake was, and I was 23 at the time, and my boyfriend, now my husband, came over for the summer, and some Irish people, we all went there going, oh, let's all get naked, this is fun. And it was fun. I wouldn't do it in front of friends now, but again, that's a British thing. Germans actually don't have such a problem with nakedness and getting their kit off. And you see them all going swimming together. I would have dreamt of going swimming with my friends. It's like a weird thing. But here they are, girls in bikinis, boys in shorts, and they're all just hanging out, flirting in the water. And it's really nice to see the ease at which they are with their own bodies, possibly because a lot of them are fitter. Not everyone. There's definitely a growing obesity epidemic. You notice it each year. More and more younger kids are really getting more chunky. But before that, even 10 years ago, so many of them are just so fit because of their outdoor lifestyle. They may not even eat healthier, they drink a lot of beer. Germans drink a lot of beer. And it's only the really old beer-bellied working class men that you really see having that significant beer belly. Honestly, people are healthy mostly. You look at all our neighbours, they're pretty much all on their bikes, old ladies on their bikes, old men on their bikes, everyone cycles, everyone goes skiing. We don't, but other people do. And then there's the entertainment. Now there's so much free entertainment in Munich all year round, but particularly in summertime. You have every single weekend, there's more than one thing that you can attend for free. It's completely insane. Last Saturday, for example, it was the Pride Parade and Christopher Street Day in Munich. We didn't go to it. We actually went last year because it was the Munich Fest at the same time, which is the Irish dancing competition. My daughter was still doing Irish dancing, and we stepped out of the school it was held at and literally caught the beginning of the parade. It was the last section though, so they'd already gone through the city of Munich, and we just stood there, watched the first few. This is amazing, and it's so beautiful and vibrant, and I loved that the kids could see it. And because I knew it was that, it was so great. My daughter wore her little rainbow dress, and my son wore a t-shirt that has rainbow happy sun or something on it, really cute. So, and they loved it. They loved watching the drag queens going, wow, how can they walk in those shoes, and aren't they hot with all those clothes on? And I love the practicality of kids when it comes to things like that. And we didn't stay for long that year, because it was really loud. And my little boy, he's a sensitive boy, and he just went, it's too loud. So we watched about 20 minutes and then headed back home. But that, for example, is the one thing. You always have someone demonstrating somewhere anyway on a Saturday. You always have people talking in the city centre and their little stages, politically or not. But in summer, you have music and entertainment added to it. You have the Gasteig, for example, which is the concert venue. They now have two venues because the original one's been sort of redone. I don't know what they're doing, but it was closed during Corona and became a vaccination centre, the big concert hall. And they've opened another one temporary, so they use both now. And they have this huge open day once or twice a year even. They have to do free dance things. You can learn different dances, watch the performances. And this Saturday again they have one. We can't do it, we're busy this Saturday, but we normally go every year, and it's free stuff for the kids. And you have even this Munich pass for kids. You can get a Ferien pass even. The holidays the kids get free train travel because of all the activities you can go to. Like the city of Munich actively encourages you to attend all these things. And I don't know, even the little shopping centres all have activities in summer, like a week's worth of different things each day. And with the Olympia Einkaufszentrum a few years ago, which is over the other side, they had a whole crafty sewing thing. You could go and you could sew little things. They had women helping out the kids or even adults, and you could sew little pillowcases for your dolls or little bags, and like either hand stitch or sewing machines, and it's all free. Everything's provided for free, and you get to take it home. You decorate little bottles or jars to put things in. Here are all the stickers you can put on. Here's the glue, here are the googly eyes. It's just a wonderful way of entertaining. So free Munich is incredible. There's so much fun. I know other cities also offer it. I can't say what exactly happens in Berlin or, I don't know, Cologne, Frankfurt, all those places. But I know that Munich, if you really put your mind to it and do your research, there's so much. And you have Facebook groups dedicated to this. You've got the Munich Post, they have like a weekly email letter where they list 3 different things that's happening that weekend or something. You've got expat groups obviously, and just word of mouth. So it's a beautiful place for free activities, for free concerts. One of the highlights is the Tollwood Festival. If you saw my winter Christmas markets video, I mentioned Winter Tollwood, which is on the place of the Theresienwiese where the Oktoberfest is held. Because today they start building Oktoberfest already, which is the 30th of June, Monday today, they cannot use that site. Plus it would be too hot in summer. It's just concrete asphalt. That concrete heat is incredible and so hot in the city, so you want to go where the trees are. So in summertime, Tollwood is actually held at the Olympia Park, the Olympic Park, which was created for the 1972 Olympics, which is where I went to see the cherry blossom back in the springtime. And they have a section quite close to the road and a bus stop, so it's quite easy accessible, where they put very similar, pretty much the same stall holders, I think, as in winter. In winter it's like a Christmas market. Here it's just like a festival. You have all these open stalls, you have bars, and you can get cocktails. Rather than glühwein everywhere, you get cocktails and soft drinks and food. They had one year this amazing Indian little village where you could buy curries and all sorts of different Indian street foods and even Kingfisher beer. And they had a little stage where at the weekend they had Indian dancing, and it was just incredible. It must have been, I think it was 2017, because my daughter was just walking and she was standing up and trying to dance. And it was just, the atmosphere was amazing, and it was this wooden dusty flooring they'd put down and everything, and it smelled like India, like we've been to India, and it smelled like it with the gorgeous spices kind of in the air, and the wood seemed to have absorbed it. And you can get, you know, your henna paintings, and they sell scarves, and that's the Indian bit aside, you have everything else as well. And you can buy really nice, it's kind of alternative, if you went to a music festival, the kind of places you'd expect. And they do have music. They've got the Andex tent. Andex is a monastery out that way that's run by monks, where you can go out and get beer. It's a nice 1 hour climb up to the monastery. It's a really nice place to go, nice little walk with families as well. And they have this big tent where you can go and have your drinks and refreshments and live music. Every day they have live music for free in this tent. And it's just a lovely thing. If it's hot, they open the sides up, it's just an open, like a giant circus tent. And all relaxing. And then you can sit on the hills that go up from the side of the tent, because the doors are, the sides are opened up, and the music just carries out. And it's just a beautiful summer vibe. Munich knows how to do the summer vibe, definitely. And with the weather now, I mean, we've had 33 degrees in June, which is insanely hot, and massive thunderstorms, like tropical storms. And we now have tiger mosquitoes here as well, which is a bit of an issue, but such is the way of climate change. Tollwood also does have paid for concerts. They have another separate tent, like in winter, which stays up a little bit longer, I think, than the 1 month Tollwood is. Maybe not, maybe it's because it's 1 month, it started 2 weeks ago. It's already been going 2 weeks, I haven't been to it yet, or 1 week, not sure. They have amazing artists. I know they had, gosh, is Robbie Williams playing there? No, he's playing I think he's playing the Olympia Centre. I don't care about Robbie Williams anyway. Yeah, they have really great artists, often older artists, people who've not really toured that much recently or don't sell out stadiums. Like I know Roxette, I think they're playing this year, and a couple of years ago Joan Baez played, and I wish I'd seen her actually, like an amazing singer, amazing musician. And my mum's a huge fan of hers. But it's people like that, and then you pay to go and see them. So those are cool. My husband actually, when he first moved here, he used to do local crew. He used to do a lot of the stage building for the concerts at all over the place. The smaller venues, the Zenith Hallo, MOC, whatever, the Olympia Stadium, and the Hallo, the indoor place. And you know, he's done all the concerts, and he wasn't interested in seeing any of them apart from Simon Garfunkel. I think he actually stood and watched. I used to get into a lot of concerts for free as well because of it, which is great. But I used to also have to pick him up at 3 a.m. when he finished the teardown. And I had cars from work. We used to get lots of press cars because I worked for a car newspaper. So I'd roll up in this fantastic car. I did another video about this, all the different cars we had. And I'd roll up with cold beer I'd bought at the petrol station on the way. And then he'd been working all day, the before and all night, like sometimes 24 hours on the trot. I mean, it was hard. So a cold beer and a pickup is not a bad thing. But yes, so he used to do the concerts quite often, and that included Tollwood. He did that for a couple of years in a row. The build-up of the stalls, I think, it's done separately, but it used to be like the big tent where the concerts were in. And it was one of the worst jobs he's ever done, because you're doing it in blazing heat. You're doing it at the end of June, build up, tear down, beginning of August, because it's pretty much for the whole month of July. They've moved it forward a week now, I'm not quite sure why. But it was bad, and you'd be there in the blazing heat, climbing up, just putting up this tent. In a park, but still there was nowhere, when you had a break time, there was nowhere to go for food, things like that. So he remembers that, so whenever he mentions summer Tollwood, he goes, oh no, and he doesn't even want to go because he has such bad memories. The only other one, free entertainment thing, this is a particular one here, is there's a theatre called the Entity Theatre. It's an Amdram, English speaking theatre in Munich, and I think they put on 2 plays a year, like a winter one around Christmas possibly, and a summer one which is always free. And it's in West Park, which is just the west of Munich, another huge park. And there's this amphitheatre in West Park called the Theatron, which is the seating up the side and the stages in the middle. It's quite a small venue, but it's beautiful. It's in the middle of this park. And you go along, it's a free theatre. They do ask for donations, which is fair enough. They even have a programme you can have, which is incredible. And you just take your picnic blanket, you take food and drinks, and you sit there and you watch the play. And the kids can run off or come back because it's just in the park, and it's a free for all. It's beautiful. Last year we went on the hottest day of the year to see Midsummer Night's Dream. Went with a friend and his daughter, met them there, and he drank my beer, but never mind. Bring your own next time. But we went to see Midsummer Night's Dream, and we got the bus there so I could have a couple of little beers. And it's just me and the 2 kids. And when we headed back afterwards, we just went to a playground for them to cool down, and there was this huge puddle, like it was a mini lake. I don't know whether is normally a lake or not, it was strange, but they decided to go swimming in it. Went, oh, can we go in the water? I went, yeah, I guess. And they just submerged themselves, just like that, fully clothed. And I just stood there going, and how are we going to go home? You crazy kids. But actually it was honestly so hot that even when we got home at 10 o'clock that night, they weren't cold. I had a picnic blanket, I could wrap them in on the bus, so the bus didn't get wet, but they were fine. But the weird thing is, this is a weird story, a very strange story. We watched the Midsummer Night's Dream, which you should know is about fairies, and Oberon, Titania and everything, and Puck, the mischievous fairy. Now I have a fairy, they're a little bit, you don't mess with them, you know, you respect them, you ask their permission. If you go near their place, you don't destroy things. Irish are very big on the fae and the good folk, the fair people. There's lots of names for them. And so we're watching this play, we're laughing at it. Yes, it's great. The kids loved it as well at their age. I love that they watched the Shakespeare play and enjoyed it. And we then say bye to our friends. They head off on their bike. We cannot find our way out the park. It's like, it's just this path here, it's just this path here. And I'm walking around, it's getting darker and darker and darker. It does get dark quite late in summer, but still, at some point it's going to be dark. We're not that close to the north, and we just couldn't, and suddenly we ended up at the same place again. And I swear we walked around a circle 3 times, and I could sort of hear the road where the buses kind of were, and lots of traffic. It's quite a big road, but I just couldn't get to it. And then suddenly, I think it was my daughter, because we discussed this recently, she went, maybe we're caught on a pixie trail, because it was weird that we kept looping on this path, even though we kept going off on different things. You just ended up at the same place. So everyone turned an item of clothing inside out. I think they had their socks on, their soggy socks, they turned inside out. Me, maybe my t-shirt, I don't know, I can't remember. And I'm not joking, the minute we did that, it's like this path suddenly opened in front of us. Like, it wasn't like trees opening, but there was a path there that I hadn't seen before, even though we'd been there. It was really surreal. I mean, I wasn't drunk because, you know, our friend drank my beer. I only had 1 little bottle of Heineken, so cut me some slack here. And the kids were also, they're quite good at directions. We couldn't find our way out until we changed our clothes inside out. Then instantly we were out. And then we went to the bus stop. The bus came within 10 minutes and we went home. And I remember I wrote about this for Medium. My daughter wrote a little article about it as well, because it was the most surreal experience. And to this day, I still think we were caught in a pixie trail. And if you don't know what they are, you can look it up. It's where, you know, you turn anything inside out, you basically ka-ching, get yourself out. They're tricksters, they like to play pranks on you, you know. So that was a cool experience. Could have been a little bit scary, especially as it was getting dark. I got a little bit anxious because they were really wet and because I was carrying the heavy bag and I just wanted to get out. And I think I tried to call my husband, but he was asleep already or something. Or he was working maybe, I don't know. He used to work late Saturday. Either way, we made it out alive and okay with a story to tell, which is kind of great. Free things in Munich, Pixie trails, there you go. Culturally, obviously, I've said there are lots of free events. You have like free museum openings, you have free other things that go on, like the Gash, like I was saying, like open days and everything. But one really great thing for community is the Hofflohmarkt, they're called. A Hofflohmarkt is like a flea market in your back garden, a yard sale, essentially. And they divide up the city into areas, and each weekend, one area has their designated Hofflohmarkt. And you can register or pay or not and do it anyway, but then you're on the map if you register, and they send out the map week before, you can find it online, in that area which houses are selling stuff. So you basically get to clear out everything, have your own little flea market, jumble sale, car boot sale, call it whatever you wish, and sell lots of things. And then you can also walk around to your neighbours and you can see who's selling. And we have a little driveway we share with the house at the front, so we always sell together, and quite often with the people opposite as well who don't have a driveway, they're just on the road. So, and they've got kids as well, so we're there just hanging out, drinking tea, drinking coffee. By 3 p.m. someone always gets out some Prosecco or wine or something, and it's just so nice. And you talk to your neighbours, you see them here, you see them there, and people come from all over the city. Some people go to each district every single Saturday. They have some Fridays and Sundays, but Saturday is always the key day. We're always lucky to have ours on a Saturday. And it's so busy. We have a lot of footfall down our street as well. It's quite a main street. And it's just incredible. It's such a nice way to spend the Saturday. And you can make money. The kids sold loads of toys last year and made like 200 euros. And then promptly bought Emo the robot, which then broke a month later when he fell off his ledge, even though it wasn't supposed to. They did a video actually on their own little channel about Emo the robot. It was so funny. I might link it below because they're so cute in it. So it's still not really fixed. He sort of half works. But they learned their lesson. Don't squander all your money on a silly robot. But they did buy it from their sales, so it was great. And it's just a fun thing. And then they buy little things and trashy things or not. But you know, they can do what they want with their money, especially if they've earned it from their toys. The Hofflohmarkt is great, and we have stumbled across others in other districts before. When she used to do Irish dancing in that area, it's also a very cool area with lots of flats. And the flats then always have a courtyard, and that's where everyone just sets up their trestle tables, which is almost even better because it's not house and house, but it's whole little areas and everyone's selling things. And we'd find some amazing, amazing things. And because it's quite a wealthy area, and this is also quite a wealthy area, you get some pretty cool stuff. Yeah, Hofflohmärkte really are great. They are just a highlight. They can be a highlight for every weekend if you want to. We tend to just sell out ours and check out ours, and then maybe drive or cycle around whenever it's finished around 4 o'clock, because most people put everything they haven't sold out in boxes going to give away. And that's that. They do that anyway in summer. People put boxes out when they're clearing out, and like on a Sunday morning, and people walk around a lot and just see what they want. I've given away some really good stuff that I couldn't sell. I've given away some trashy things. I've just found some amazing things. It's a nice neighbourhood thing, you know. People don't tend to steal everything. They leave it if they don't want it. It's still quite a safe place to live. The whole city is pretty safe. Some areas not so great. Ours is luckily we're very lucky. We live in a safe, lovely area, and it's green and it's not all concretey and it's lovely. So we're very lucky. Also, if you want to go further afield, though this is also maybe more of a Bavarian thing again, hiking. People love hiking in summer. Bit of a joke to some people as well, but hiking can be really good fun, because especially if you climb up a mountain, they're often covered in trees, the little trails and everything. So even on a hot day like today, you're not going to be as hot as in the city, because you're further towards the mountains, you're going up above sea level. We're already 800 meters above sea level here, but you go higher, and you can just have a lovely walk with your family, your friends, whatever. Lots of companies do it as their office day out once a year. They go on a hike with colleagues, and there's always like a guest house at the top where you can get some food, some drinks, or just a drink and look at the view, this amazing view over the mountain, over the valleys and everything. One favourite with us and the kids is a place called Blomberg, which is about an hour south of Munich. It's not easy to get to by public transport. There's a train and I think a bus or maybe 2 buses, so it is accessible but not so easy. We have a car. We've only had a car for 6 years, but it's been a lifesaver. I mean, it's been amazing. And you drive there and you walk up. It can take between 1 and 2 hours. I think we did it in 1.5 to 2 hours when the little guy was 4 or 5. so now probably less time. When you get to the top, you can then have food and then you can walk down again, either all the way down, or you can walk across to the chairlift and get the chairlift down, which is a beautiful experience. Like you walk up and then don't have to walk all the way down, or you walk half the way down and then there's a huge toboggan, like a summer toboggan, I think it's 2.5 kilometers, that you can then go down. You sit in a little plastic thing. Kids have to go with their parents. I think you have to be 9 or something and above to go in alone. And you just speed down. It's almost like a little roller coaster down the mountain, which is amazing. But you can't get the chairlift halfway down. So you either walk up, chairlift down, chairlift halfway up again, because you can get it to there, because some people just go up for the toboggan, or you walk halfway down. So we've done both. And the kids love it. It's just a great experience. At the bottom they've got like a little mini fairground. They've got little cars you can drive around. They've got trampolines. They've got little slot machines, whatever, claw machines, stuff. Just kids that they can do things, and a mini beer garden, obviously, where you can get your drinks and your food at the bottom as well before heading home. So a beautiful little place. It's called Blomberg. I might link it below because it's a really nice place to go in summer. In winter, the path that you walk up becomes a sledding path, and they kind of, I don't know how it can be safe because it's, you know, a bit of a drop, but there's that. So you can then get the chairlift up and sled all the way down, which is also cool, but not massively my thing. I mean, actually, even on the summer toboggan thing, you can see some corners, like you could just go out if you go too fast, because you have to brake around corners. It even says brake now, and you can see where people have actually kind of landed in the bushes and things. And there's a bit of a drop in some places. So yes, common sense isn't a German trait, you know, and they like to have people take their own responsibility. They don't mollycoddle you here like they would in the UK, or I think US as well. Like you fall out there, you were warned, the sign says slow down. Hiking in general, really great, really great. And the satisfaction of getting to the top of that mountain, that Wendelstein, which is 1800 meters up a mountain, and it's cold, even in summer it's cold when you get to the top, so take a jacket or a shirt or something, but it's beautiful. And you feel so fit and healthy. In the UK we used to go surfing at weekends, more in springtime and autumn when the waves are bigger, not so much in summer. But we'd drive from where we lived in Hertfordshire, 3, 4, 5 hours, quite a long time, like on a Friday, and come back Sunday night, and we just have the best weekend because you're outdoors. Anything that entails being outdoors makes you feel better. I mean, go back to work on Monday morning in London, I'd be getting the tube in, going to work, looking at everyone else looking miserable, thinking, what did you do this weekend? And kind of feeling really good inside, thinking, I've been surfing, I've been all the way to Cornwall or to Devon, and you could see the glow, because I'd just be glowing from the water with the sea salt and the exhilaration of having been surfing outdoors. So I try and recreate that here by hiking, by going swimming in lakes. It's not the same. I mean, the sea, honestly, the seaside, you can't beat it, and I miss it a lot. Being landlocked is not easy, but sort of landlocked. Bavaria's landlocked. But we do the best we can, you know, and the forests as well obviously are really nice, but forests are nice every time of year. So also just summing up about the city again, the parks actually have a really nice outdoor vibe because everyone lives in their apartments. Not everyone, a lot of people live in apartments. They want to get outside. You see people meeting up in the park just with their friends. They do slacklining in between trees, and they set up camp for the whole day. They have big kind of picnic blankets out. You have drumming. You can you just come across a drumming group or people just playing music, busking. Music is everywhere and it's incredible, and you can just get a really cool vibe wherever you go. Just a really funky vibe. And I do things like this and I see them, I go, oh, I wish I went out more, didn't just hang out in my garden, but it's so much effort to also go into town when you've got 2 little people just going, oh, it's too hot. My daughter especially gets very hot. Like she's a Viking like my husband. She's just feels the heat so much and just can't bear the heat. She loves winter. And my little guys like me, I have some kind of Spanish blood in me, and I love the heat. Although this is my limit pretty much. I'm getting a bit warm. Bike rides, obviously. We've been cycling everywhere, and for example, the cycling is great, and the music you can come across. For example, yesterday we cycled to a local farm shop as a family. First time my little guy had gone more than just up the road and back, and it was so cute seeing him cycling and just pedaling so fast and being so excited about it, going, cycling's my new hobby, I love cycling. And he went to this farm shop to buy ice cream because nothing's open on Sunday except for petrol stations, which are overpriced with limited selection. and they sell this amazing homemade ice cream from another farm further outside of Munich, but they stock it. Really beautiful. So a little kind of, it's so great to find this little secret safe spots. And they sell potatoes and onions and eggs as well. So you just go there, it's an honesty box, you write down what you've taken, you put the money in the till and then leave, and it's really, really nice. And as we're cycling there, we go past another giant Gasthaus, a pub basically, with a beer garden, and you could hear the music from far away, like this blues music playing, like a live blues band, just there in the beer garden while everyone's just having a good time. And as we went past, I went, oh my gosh, it would be so nice to go there, but we had our mission to get ice cream and go home again. But quite often, especially when we were younger, before we had kids, we'd end up in places like this because we came across them and go, oh, that looks great, let's join in. And you just don't know it's there because nothing is really announced. Yeah, that particular pub would have announced on their website maybe, I don't know, but you're not going to go into every bar. So it's lovely just coming across these things and discovering the city that way. So, and before we moved to this house as well, we used to cycle everywhere in the city because we lived more in the city. And we'd just go into town and we'd leave our bikes somewhere, walk around, pick them up again, cycle somewhere else. And you're free. You're free then on public transport, which is hot and you have to wait and everything, and you get on, get off. We did have bikes stolen. This is the other issue, is again, other video. But the freedom of cycling is incredible. It's very cycle friendly. You know, some cyclists obviously are aggressive, some car drivers are aggressive towards cyclists, but the majority are both. In the UK, you have cyclists and car drivers, pretty much, and they hate each other equally. Here, everyone is both, pretty much. So they respect each other because they're one or the other on different days. And same with me, you know, I will make sure I check for bikes when I'm in the car, and when I'm cycling, I check that the driver has seen me. I don't just assume they've seen me if I'm going behind them or something. So it's all about being fun. I think my battery's running low. So I'm going to wrap up here now. Let me know if I've missed anything. I'm sure I've missed tons of things. Oh, I know, the river surfers. There's an artificial wave by the English Garden next to the Haus der Kunst Museum, which is a big art gallery type museum. And people can actually surf on the river. There's just one wave and they surf across, backwards, forwards. You can check out YouTube videos of them surfing. It's great to watch them at the bridge above it where the river flows, and you can actually see them surfing. And it only reopened last week after a 33-year-old woman drowned in March. She got caught somehow on something and she kept being pulled under, and she was at night. I think she was night surfing with a friend. It was actually really tragic and horrible because they haven't found the cause of what caught on it. And there are rocks and things, but they couldn't find a reason. They even kind of drained it. They couldn't completely because it's the river, but they, like I said before, they have different subsidiaries of the river, so they could block that a little bit. And after about almost 3 months or something, they finally reopened it. It's just hard. I mean, a guy was actually surfing at night secretly after they'd closed off, and they threatened a 50,000 euro fine to anyone who surfed on it after they let the water back up while they were still making inquiries. So it's a really great place to watch them, but now it's a little bit tinged with tragedy because no one ever died at that spot. People have died in the water because it's really fast. I've jumped in before and it takes you around at the speed, it's insane. You have people that throw shopping trolleys in there and old little big beer mass kind of glasses that can be, you know, that can break and they cut your feet and things. So it's kind of dangerous, but it's fun and it's cool, especially in summer when it's so hot. People jump in the water, the Eisbach, which is called the Eisbach because it's icy cold all year round. It's freezing, and the river surfers always wear wetsuits because it's so cold. But that's a really great location just to check out if you're by the English Garden or close by. Yeah, so I'm sure I've missed out lots of things. I hope I've included the majority of things. I'm sorry if it's a little bit long and waffly. I get quite excited about these things. My next video will be on the not so positive things. Might be longer, might be shorter, I don't know. I'm trying to think of all the things to mention. Let me know what you do in summer. What are great things and great attractions in your area? Even in Munich, if you're in Munich, I don't know, maybe I've missed something really cool that I could be doing all the time. Yeah, so if you've enjoyed this, maybe give it a like because it does help getting some likes, and also maybe subscribe. Many people that watch my videos don't subscribe, so it would be great if I could just have a few more. I'm almost at 100 subscribers, which is amazing in itself. And thanks for watching if you made it this far, and hope to see you in the next one. Thank you and cheerio!